Well, hello, great morning, great day, wherever you are in the world. You are speaking with your girl, Anita Cornett, your success strategist, self-expansion guide and facilitator. And I'm going to be really quick because wherever you are in the world, it is Christmas Eve for those that celebrate. I do. My family, we do. And it's Christmas Eve today. And so I wanted to just come in here. You see the title. 5 things. I want to say it's 5 things I'm leaving behind. Or no, 5 things that I'm not giving energy to in 2025. So there's a difference in how you word things. So I wanted to say that because, hey, Jessica, I wanted to say that because sometimes, words matter and words mean things, right? So, there may be times when we may bring things up. We got to give ourselves grace in that process of doing that, but not to actually overconsume ourselves or ruminate. So that's why I have the 5 things. So I'm going to be really quick with this, but I just want to, because I know you all are enjoying family, doing last minute things before the holiday. So the first one is 5 things. Okay. It's again, 5 things that I am not giving energy to in 2025. So the first one is the need to be perfect. Okay. So the reason why I say this is because I deal with perfectionism, and I dealt with it ever since a child all the way into adulthood into midlife. Right. So I'm 47, proud of it, 47 years young. So I don't care if anybody says that I'm old. I am young at heart and I'm aging with grace. And so that's how I look at it when it comes to aging. But the need to be perfect. So I dealt with perfectionism for several years, a lot of years, like I said, as a child growing up in my teens and in my adulthood. I didn't even realize it until I was introduced to it from a business coach, Danielle Winningham, what she's doing several things within the Houston community and out and beyond that. But she was my first business coach. And then I also learned it through my spiritual advisor. And so I started to learn more about perfectionism and how that impacts us as individual, but then also your upbringing, your childhood, things of that nature, trauma. And so that's been something that I've been healing from. Not that it's going to be cured, but it's manageable, and that I actually have the self-awareness now versus not having it. So again, the need to be perfect. Why do I bring this up? Because a lot of times when we give energy to that, trying to be perfect will actually lead to us not doing nothing. So it's either we start something, we don't finish it because the project or whatever that thing we want to create, it could be, again, a lot of the people that I talk to are creatives. They're leaders in their industries, but they also aspire to or actually are in entrepreneurship. And so a lot of them are authors, they're speakers, they're coaches, they're experts in their field, right, of genius. And so and they're educators as well. And so when we actually focus on the perfection, we don't get anything done. We have delays. Something that you created 5 years ago is still on your shelf or on your desktop or somewhere. And so it's not being expressed. It's not being shared with the world, because at the end of the day, if you're someone like me that wants to leave a legacy, to me, a legacy is beyond your children. It's your children's children. It's your family. It's those that surround you. It's the future of our country, where we are, and how we can actually influence them through how we educate them. So based on our expertise and what we do, that is how you can leave a legacy, but you can't leave it if you're not creating that thing that will actually touch that person to be a better version of themselves. So again, the need to be perfect. The second one is allowing your circumstance to define your self-worth. So a lot of times I say we, for those that have been in the same situations or similar, when we look at certain things that's happening in our life, we tend to believe that is our self-worth or what it is, and it's not. That circumstance is something that's temporary, and it doesn't mean that that's your self-worth. Your self-worth is not finite, it's infinite. So your self-worth is so much more to what you may think. You bring value to everyone around you, but if you don't believe that, it's not existent. The belief is not there. So allowing your circumstance to define your self-worth. We're letting go of that energy, because if you continue on with that energy, you're going to not do the things that you desire. You're not going to give efforts into things that actually have meaning for you. You're going to end up doing things that you feel as though is people pleasing, or things that others you may believe that you will actually do as far as for other people. But at the end of the day, it's like, what is your truth? What is that about you? What are your values? What is your personal mission on this earth? And if you don't believe in yourself, then no one else is going to believe in you. You have to believe in yourself first. So again, allowing your circumstance to define your self-worth, we're not going to entertain that or put our energy in that. The second one is expressing a narrative that no one supports you. Okay, so I will say I've been I've mentioned it a lot when I first started business, that, oh my gosh, my family, they don't support me, blah, 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 this and that and the other. But the thing is, when you start speaking those things to existence, it starts to happen, and you start to believe it. And then everything around you, you actually receive it, right? You start seeing it because you're speaking those things. So no one supports you. So my invitation to you is not to give energy into that narrative that no one supports you. It's reframing that to, how can I get the support? It's the who. Who is going to be the one to support you? The thing about it is, you have to realize that family is not your ideal client. Okay, so they're not your ideal client. So get that out your mind, especially if you're in business. Okay, unless you have family that's in business with you, they're helping you in business. The key is the support system to actually help you, whatever obstacles that you may have, those type of things that help you get better at your craft or what it is that you want to do in business. Those individuals aren't your family. So whoever those experts that you have that's in your local community, or you may have to do it virtual, I invite you to actually go through those mentors to help you. And it's okay if your family my family don't like what I do. Let's be real. And I'm being real. Some of them don't even believe that I'm have a coaching practice. So, but is that going to stop me from what I'm doing? I still have to go out there and find the support that I need for me. So let's reframe the fact that no one supports you and say, how can I get the support? Who is the person that's going to support me? So instead of saying no one supports me. The second one is speaking negative self-talk about ourselves. So similar to allowing your circumstance to define your self-worth, it's like when you start saying that you can't do something, it's like confirmation bias. Again, I am a master resiliency trainer. This is one of the things that I was trained in. Confirmation bias is one of the things that actually gets into our mindset. It gets into how we think, because what we think, it's a thought, it becomes an action, then it becomes a consequence. Something happens after that. And then it becomes a behavioral pattern that we continue to do if we don't course correct it. Not everyone is going to notice it initial time or pattern that you do. But when you keep doing it over and over again, I mean, you would think that someone would be like, hey, this is what you're doing, and you change it. If you want to change. If you don't want to change, you're going to do the same thing. So the key of it is not giving energy to the negative self-talk. It's not about toxic positivity. Okay. I'm not talking about that. If you feel a certain way, you may have all the type of feelings in one day. That is okay to do that. However, your job is not to ruminate over it, because when you start ruminating it, now you're worrying about something that doesn't exist, but you believe that it exists. Now it's impacting how you act. It's impacting your behavior. It's impacting the things that you're designed, what God designed for you to do on this earth. You're not doing it because you have a negative self-talk about yourself. And so that, to me, is self-abuse. Self-abuse. If you self-abuse yourself, and then how are you going to expect it not to be back given to you from anyone else? And it's not just domestic violence. It's words of expression. That can be abusive. If you're doing it to yourself, and then, you're not going to recognize when you're actually experiencing it through other people. And these people don't have to be a significant other. They could be someone that you work with. They could be colleagues at work. And like I said, it comes in different ways. It's not just someone like just straight out saying something to you. It could be actions, that their behaviors that they do. But again, if you're not noticing it within yourself, having that self-awareness, then how can you treat yourself like the temple? How can you treat yourself with the best respect if you're not giving it to yourself? So again, we're going to not give energy to the negative self-talk. The second one, or the last one, is the need to overcommit. This is something that I talked about when I did my 21 days, when I started coming back on doing live or whatnot. And so I did an introduction and I talked about it, and I still talk about it, and I will continue to talk about it. So burnout is an issue that we have within the United States, to include global. It became a global issue, or it was something that was recognized during the pandemic. And so it just became, I want to say it was either before the pandemic or post-pandemic is when it started to really get recognized more than anything. And so when we're talking about workplace well-being, we're talking about at home well-being, your self-care, those type things. When you start overcommitting, you're adding on to your plate. And so that adds on to the burnout. So if you know that the key is understanding what your capacity is, and understanding what your time capacity is, understanding what your mental capacity is, what capacity that you have, your energy capacity. If you're overcommitting, the question that I would invite you to do, because I'm saying this because I've had to do it, is why? At one point, I was in a lot of military mentorship groups. This is years back. I was a young master sergeant at that time. So I was in a lot of virtual mentorship groups. And honestly, when I look back on it and I had to peel the layers back, it was for external validation. That's why I did it. I did it for external validation. I did it for people pleasing. I did it to be liked. I did it to prove a point, which at this time, I don't even know why I had that mentality. But again, that's something that I've had to grow from. But I had to prove a point, because in the organizations that I was in, a lot of them did not accept mentorship. They didn't want mentorship in a different way versus how I wanted to bring it forth in the organization, because of, again, going back to the mindset. What's the work that has to go behind it? Somebody has to do the work. It can't be just something you're just creating and nobody's doing anything. So some of the organizations that I was in, they didn't say it like verbatim. They didn't say, okay, well, we're not going to have mentorship. No, when it came time to address the program and actually address it within the organization and how it will benefit soldiers, it doesn't matter if it's female or male, we would bring it forward. When it came to the people to do the work, we didn't have the people to do the work. It was only a handful. And so you need more than just one person doing a grassroots program within an organization. And so what I did was, I'm going to prove whoever it was, and it wasn't a specific person, it was just the organization. I'm going to prove them wrong, that I can do this. And it had nothing to do with me, but I made it about me. And so what did I do? I would join all these mentorship groups, and I still had a job to do at work, let alone I'm still a wife. I'm still doing those type things. I wasn't doing community service at the time. I was doing a lot of that. And then I also became an admin. So I became an admin for a mentorship organization, which became more, it was a mentorship community. The name has changed. We still have it. But the one that I was the primary one, we no longer have that community. And so that's another story for another day, because I have lessons learned with that, my own personal experience. But when it comes to overcommitting, I actually had to peel the layers back and say, okay, why am I doing this? This is not just for that. This was I joined Facebook communities, and I would just be doing stuff just to be trying to find helping someone, doing this, building, it was just too much. Like I get it. There's a lot of online communities. We're not just talking about Meta here. We're talking about there's Mighty Networks. There's Clubhouse. There's Chatter. There's Telegram. There's all these WhatsApp. You have so many modalities when it comes to how you want to communicate with individuals, but you still have to know what that is. But you can't spread yourself so thin because you're not going to get anything accomplished on the main things that you need to get done. And so when it comes to the need to overcommit for the new year, I would just say not putting so much energy in the overcommitting, but putting the energy in what matters the most and focusing on that. I invite you to do that because I'm doing that myself. If it's something that you want to do, but you don't have the capacity, again, having the self-awareness and knowing what your time capacity is, what your energy capacity is, your efforts. What is it that you can do? Because you overcommit, something is going to fall. You can't be 100% in everything. Something is going to, you're not going to be great in everything. Something is going to fall unless you have a team that's actually got your back. And if you can't be there for an event, someone is going to support you in it and it's going to get done without you. That is how you have that support. But not everything is going to be 100%. So you have to be mindful of that and know, where can I put the most energy to where I get the best investment, meaning I'm contributing to people, I'm giving my value, but then I'm also getting something back. But again, it's not all about you, but you have to have some type of fulfillment. It can't be where you're just doing something just to do it. What is the why behind it? So anything that you do, what is the why behind it? How long is it going to be? Is it relatable to your personal, professional goals? Because I talked about this as well. I can't see any comments. So Jessica, if you're on here, thank you so much. I'll have to respond once I see this again, if you have any comments in here. And thank you all for watching the replay if you're not watching the live. But I wanted to really make sure that I talk about this when it comes to the overcommitting. Again, it's not about theory. It's about something that I've gone through over the years, and it just built up more and more. And so, when you are someone that has a profession that you're working 24/7 based on your job, because everyone has a different type job. The military is not, even though we do have a set time for the organization, every organization is different, but at any time we could be called to do something. So it's not 9 to 5. So depending on the type of job that you have, first responders, if you're doing something, you're on call, it's not 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? So understanding what your role is when it comes to your profession, and then the other things that you want to do that blends in to bring in the harmony, because you still have your family. You still have, if you want to do community service. So again, I serve the women that are in community service, but the key is it's got to be aligned to where you're not finding yourself burnt out. Because if you're burnt out, no one's going to care. They're going to continue to go. And I hate to say it like that. Family will care. Close friends will care. Colleagues will care. Some will care. But at the end of the day, someone's going to replace you and they're going to continue on. Just like the Army goes rolling along, it's going to happen for any organization that you're in. So if you're in a place to where you feel as though you have to do everything, I invite you to reframe that and actually look at what truly matters to you the most and what can you give 100%, because you're not going to be able to do it for everything. So again, 5 things we're going to not give our energy to in 2025. So we're not going to give our energy to the need to be perfect. We're not going to give our energy to allowing the circumstance to define our self-worth. We're not going to give energy to expressing the narrative that no one supports us. That's in anything that we want to do when it comes to business startups, when it comes to growing, scaling a business, when it comes to pivoting, changing a business. We're not going to give that expressive, that narrative that no one supports us. We're not going to speak negative self-talk about ourselves to ourselves. And the last one, we are not going to have the need to overcommit. So God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jessica, for tuning in. Thank you all for watching the replay. And again, bless. I wish you a blessed holiday season. For those that may not have their loved ones here, please actually keep them in your thoughts and always check on them to see how they're doing, making sure they're not alone and they have someone to talk to. But I will be on here a little bit later, probably not today, but probably after Christmas or probably before in the morning, because just my husband and I, we don't have any kids, but we were invited to a dinner, but that's a little bit later in the day. So if anything, if I do come in, it'll be like an inspirational quote or something that I get that if I'm inspired, I'll share. So I will see you all later. God bless.